All right, my fellow Fever fans, this is your Fever Game 42 recap from tonight. And in Game 42, the Fever get the win over the Chicago Sky, 97-77. That now improves the Fever's record on the year to 22-20. Kelsey Mitchell led all scorers for the Fever with 20 points. Natasha Howard had 18. Odyssey Sims had 13. Aaliyah Boston had 11, and Lexi Hall had 9. The Fever's bench had a total of 26 points. The Fever were led off the bench. By Ariel Powers with. The Fever were led off the bench by Ariel Powers with 10 of those points. Natasha Howard had the most rebounds for the Fever tonight with 7 rebounds. And Kelsey Mitchell had the most assists for the Fever with 8 assists. Your player of the game for the Fever is going to be Natasha Howard with 18. Your player of the game for the Fever is going to be Natasha Howard with 18 points, 7 rebounds, and 2 assists. The Fever's next game is Sunday at the Washington Mystics. I mean, we pretty much have beaten them every time this year. I think we have actually beaten them every time this year. With that win tonight, that was a much needed win, and that, along with the Fever's win tonight, along with the Sparks loss, and Seattle lost tonight to Liberty. So now the Fever are sitting in the 7th seed of the playoffs. The Sparks do own the tiebreaker over both the Fever and the Storm, but the Fever own the tiebreaker over the Fever do own the tiebreaker over the Seattle Storm. So, with that being said, the Storm only have 1 game left, and that's on Tuesday. I don't know who it's against, but our Fever have 2 games left this Sunday at Washington, and then Tuesday we will finish up our regular season at home against the Minnesota Lynx. So Sunday's another must-win for this team. Because if they win, they will clinch a playoff spot, which means, because if they win, that will put them 1 game ahead of the Seattle Storm. And even if the Storm tie them, we would get that better spot because we beat the Storm. We have the tiebreaker over the Storm. So we would have the tiebreaker over the Storm because we have a better head-to-head. Let me rephrase that. Sorry, guys. Getting late. When it gets this late, I get mixed up in my words sometimes. So, anyways, it is a must-win for the Fever on Sunday because if we win over the Mystics, then we would clinch a playoff spot, whether that's the 7th or 8th seed. Well, actually, if we win, we'd be at least a 7th seed, at least an 8th seed, no matter what. Because here's the thing. Like I said, Sparks on the tiebreaker because of head-to-head over the Seattle Storm and over the Fever. But the Fever own the head-to-head tiebreaker over the Seattle Storm. So if we win on Sunday, that put us. If the Fever win on Sunday, that would put the Fever up to 23 wins. Which means even if Seattle wins their last game and we lose their last game, we would own the tiebreaker over them, which means we would get the 7th seed. And the Storm would get the 8th seed. Unfortunately for the Sparks, they're in a little bit of trouble here because they only got 3 games left, and they're 3 games behind the Sparks are 3 games behind Seattle, and the Sparks are 3 games behind Seattle and the Fever, so they need to win all 3, and they're not going to win all 3. The Sparks will probably win on Sunday, but they're not going to win one of them last 2 because their last 2 for the Sparks. The last 2 games for the Sparks will be Phoenix and Las Vegas. And that game versus Phoenix is at Phoenix. So I think at this point, it's safe to probably say that Seattle and the Fever are going to be your 7th and 8th seed. And unfortunately, one of them teams is playing the Lynx, the other one's going to play the Aces, and they're both going to get swept in the first round. But anyways, Fever's next game is Sunday at the Washington Mystics. Go Fever.